Australian Food and Beverage Showcase. I am Amrish Singh Roy from SR Trading Company, and I represent the company which is importing the products that are displayed behind you, and that will be tasted today. SR Trading Company is an Indian company based in a prime location in Calcutta, with operations extended over New Delhi, Gurgaon, Uttar Pradesh, Hyderabad and Secunderabad. On the initiative of Australian Trade Commission Kolkata, SR Trading Company participated in Fine Food 2003 held in Sydney. SR Trading Company also attended several meetings in Perth hosted by the Department of Agriculture, Government of Western Australia. As a result of these meetings, SR Trading Company tied up with the following companies for import and distribution of their products in India: Evans and Tate for Salisbury wines, Dendaragan Estate for varieties of olive oils, Dawsonia Limited for packaged meat products, Manison Foods for Australian cheeses, chocolates and yogurts, Margaret River Beverages for non-alcoholic health drinks, and Orchard Fresh for fruit juices. SR Trading Company has taken the initiative to host the food and beverage promotion of Western Australian products and wine tasting session conducted by Mr. Sean Bell from Perth, who is also the Regional Manager Asia Pacific of Evans and Tate, today at the Banquet Gardens. The event is being co-hosted by the Department of Agriculture, Western Australia, the Western Australian Trade Organisation, the Australian Trade Commission, and the Taj Bengal. The next speaker for the evening will be Mr. Sanjay Sethi, General Manager of Taj Bengal.
Thank you, Mr. Roy. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I represent the Taj Bengal from the Taj Group of Hotels, and this evening at the where we're going to showcase some of the best of Western Australian food and beverages. We are delighted to partner with the other partners over here for the evening, and extremely privileged to try and make inroads for producers of this part of the world from Western Australia into India. Western Australia has some of the best producers in food. It enjoys. This is one of the leading producers of high quality, clean, safe food, fiber, and fish produce. Some very good wines come out of that area, and we are particularly happy to participate in this evening, where we'll be with our partners displaying some of the Chardonnay, Shiraz, and Crisp whites from Western Australia. The wine tasting session that will be guided by Master of Vintner Sean Bell from Perth, and we're expecting as many as about 300 odd guests from various walks of life from Calcutta. We're expecting the good representation from the Council of Home, all the corporate houses, several people from the hospitality and the retail business, and the guest list should be very exciting for the evening. Once again, I'd like to say that we are delighted to partner the other partners for this evening in this showcase of Western Australian food and beverages. Thank you. Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Seth. The next speaker for the evening will be Mr. Peter Kane, Senior Trade Commissioner of India for Australian Trade Commission.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, for many years Australia has been selling food products into India, but traditionally it was really just a few commodities like pulses, lentils and powdered milk. But now we're moving to a quite different set of circumstances. There's a more sophisticated market in India. The Indian market is opening to more products, and many of the old quantitative restrictions have been removed. So now we find Australian products such as pears and kiwis and apples in the bazaars around India. And we see Australian processed food products here as well. Products like biscuits and tinned fruit, tinned vegetables. We find fruit juices here. We find carbonated drinks here. So the scene is changing dramatically, and some of those wonderful products are on display here tonight, and of course will be enjoyed by all the guests. But I would like to say that what we see now in India is only a start. And if we look out to 4 or 5 more years, I'm sure you're going to see many, many more Australian products here. And we think we can bring some wonderful benefits to the Indian consumer, including and in particular the fact that we produce our food in one of the safest environments in the world. I'd like to thank the Taj and all the other people that have contributed so much to making this a successful event, as I'm sure will be tonight. Thank you.
The next speaker would be Ms. Sonia Grincheri, Director, Western Australian Trade Organisation, India.
Thank you, Ambrish. I've now lived in India for the past 3 years as the Regional Director of the Western Australian Trade Office. WA Government has 2 offices in India, one in Mumbai and Chennai. We've operated those offices for the past 8 years. Western Australia contributes something like 20% of Australia's total agricultural exports to India. To date, they have mainly consisted of pulses, wool products, some fish products, and fruit, which is increasing in numbers. But many of you don't know a great deal about Western Australia. I found this out when I first arrived. Every Indian I spoke to could tell me intimate details about the status of the Wacker cricket pitch, and that was about the extent of the knowledge of Western Australia. The focus most definitely is on the larger sort of seaboard states of Sydney and Melbourne, which is understandable. However, Western Australia has a mighty and massive agricultural industry aside from its resource-based sectors. In fact, the state accounts for 28% of Australia's total export earnings. With a population of 2 million people, that's quite an achievement. The southwest region of Western Australia is likened to the food basket, if you like, of the state. The Margaret River region, which we are highlighting here this evening, is famous and renowned not only for its premium wine growing region, which is enjoyed by many people from across the globe, and we're very pleased that Evans and Tate is making the first serious move into the Indian market here. Aside from that, it's a great dairy industry region. Margaret River cheeses and chocolates that you will be sampling here this evening are from that region. It's also a great tourist sector for Australia and for Western Australia as well. The olive oil that you have there also on display this evening is olive oil that is premium first press olive oils. It's quite an expensive item, but it's one that we export now even to Italy. The other products on sale, the chocolates, are exported both nationally and throughout Southeast Asia through Masson Foods. The products of De Sonia, the pressed meats, is an interesting story. If you know anything about Australia, you know that it is founded on its migrant population. In the 50s, post Second World War, which is when Australia enjoyed its massive injection of migrants to the country. Many of those were from Italy, and up until the last census, Italy, or the Italian language, was actually the second language of Australia. So in it has been founded a great sort of love and tradition of Italian cuisines, and indeed 2 pasta products that are widely on sale in India, not from Western Australia, but San Remo pasta and Barilla pasta, are actually from Australia, manufactured in Australia. So the Desonia family, it's a private family company, started their business into the pressed meats, hams and quality products which came from a family tradition that they brought with them from Italy. There are many instances of many companies throughout Australia that have brought their cooking traditions with them, as most people do when they migrate from one place to another. But Desonia products are exported today, in particular throughout Southeast Asia, where they are enjoyed, and on the domestic national market, they would be one of the major Australian meat producers of varying meats, from cured hams, Parma hams, through to sausages, bacons, a whole variety of products. They are a benchmark company in the production of meat products in Australia. Harvey Fresh beverages, they're also on display. They've been actually available in the Indian market for some few years now, in particular in the west and south of India. Harvey Fresh is a product of the region Harvey, also down in the Margaret River southwest region of Western Australia, and they are a big juice producing company exporting throughout, in particular, Southeast Asia and now into the Indian market as well. The other products that are with us to be enjoyed today is the a variety of health juices and beverages, also from Margaret River. These drinks, as everyone is becoming increasingly conscious of lifestyles and better sort of living, healthier sort of conscious living, products are beginning to take a great hold. In India, we look and see great opportunities in this sector, given the high propensity also for ailments such as diabetes, high blood pressure, etc. So we're hoping to introduce the first of many range of health food products into the market. The other product that is with you this evening that you'll enjoy is Mills and Wares. This is a very old Australian confectionery company, and it was taken over at one stage by Arnott's, and then a few years ago bought back by the Bailey family, who were the originators of Mills and Wares. And this product is famous for its Christmas cake product, but not only that, a whole range of products, confectionery, cakes, etc., that have extended shelf life. The products that you see on display here were part of a major initiative by the Department of Agriculture in Western Australia and Sainsbury department store in the UK last year, when Western Australia had a massive showcase of its seafoods, packed foods and wines. That was I don't know whether Weathers and Tate was represented in that event last year, and that was met with great success. So these are products that were exported to the UK and were part of the showcase of that week-long event that I know that India had a showcase similar last year, as I recall. So they are the products that are there. We hope that you enjoy them, and we look forward to putting before Indian customers, particularly throughout their supermarkets in India, many more products that we feel will ought to be shared, and we look forward to sharing them with you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia. The next speaker will be Mr. Sean Bell, Master Vintner and Regional Manager Asia Pacific, Evans and Tate.
Good evening. I think after that description of the food, I think I won't talk about the wine because my mouth's watering so much. I think I'm ready to get out there and try some food. But I represent Evans and Tate. Mr. Singh Roy approached us after the exhibition in Sydney and decided he wanted to import some wine into India. And we said yes, why not? We actually we started off as a very, very small family-owned company in Margaret River, and it's very well known for its ultra-premium wines. Margaret River, just so you know, produces around about 3%, maybe 2.53% of the country's wine, but produces around about 23% of Australia's super premium and ultra premium products. Cranswick Estate that we bought earlier this year gave us the opportunity to open up into the export market. We've got a very good reputation. In fact, our 99 Shiraz actually won the Best Red Wine Trophy at London International Wine Challenge in the year 2000. So we've bought Cranswick Estate. It's given us an opportunity. These wines you are tasting, and I know they're not all 100% West Australian produce, and I have to be honest with you there because I'm that type of person. Most of these wines do carry West Australian fruit in them, and the whole reason we bought this company is we wanted to not only give us the opportunity to sell into other markets, and Evans and Tate was so small we didn't have that opportunity. Cranswick gave us the opportunity to actually sell into India. The Salisbury brand that you're trying tonight and the Justin Jackman brand are, the Salisbury is a fairly big part of our UK business. We now own an office in the UK and the product sells very well in the UK, so the wines you're tasting is something we sell in the UK. The Justin Jackman brand, which is probably a bit more of an entry-level product, is a brand that we actually sell into Woolworths supermarkets exclusively into Australia. The contract we have with them won't allow us to sell that brand anywhere else in Australia, but they're quite happy with us to sell this brand overseas. So Mr. Singh Roy and me will, by the end of next week, should sign an agreement for S&R Trading to have exclusive distribution of these products in India, and hopefully we can help him and promote the wine. Hopefully I can get back here a few more times in the next 12 months and do some tastings and I haven't actually seen Calcutta actually, so I've seen inside the Taj. It's a beautiful hotel, but I haven't actually been outside it yet. So, and unfortunately I fly out tomorrow, so I'll probably see it as I fly out. But I suppose the attributes of coming here today is the Indian market is very much an emerging market. I mean, I travel to China, and if you look at China, China's probably about 3 to 5 years ahead of India. It's a similar country. It's becoming quite modern, and surrounded by all this modernism is a very, very old world. And something I noticed, I had been in Mumbai before I got here, and I spent a day or two there, and I noticed you had all this modern technology and modern houses and hotels trying to emerge out of a very, very old city. But not only that, something that really impressed me, because the impression we get of India in Australia is something completely different. And we tend to see a lot of pictures of temples and greenery and the beaches of Goa, but we don't see a lot of pictures of the cities, and which is a really unfortunate thing. But what we can see emerging here is there's a lot of young people, a lot of people that actually want to enjoy wine and get involved in that side of enjoyment of better things, I suppose. And we don't actually promote in Australia. We promote wine as a social. Sit around with some friends, drink some great wine, have some great food, and just enjoy life. And I can't see any reason why, in the long term, the same thing can't be here. And as your country emerges into a much more better economic situation, I'm sure it's going to happen. And it's exactly what's happening in China, and it's quite phenomenal. And the thing that's impressed me more than anything is the food here. I've been here a short period of time. Would you believe I've hardly eaten any traditional Indian food? I've eaten a lot of other food in India. Some modern sort of style of food with a Middle Eastern Indian sort of flavour. And the thing that's impressed me is that I've drunk our wine with it, and because of the fruit flavour and the intensity of flavour in Australian wine. And that's what Australia does best, is that it's more of a science, wine making in Australia. Yeah, there's a bit of a tradition, but it is more of a science. We're about making wine, getting the best possible flavour we can out of it, the best possible varietal character out of that grape, and that's what we do. And with that, you get very, very alcoholic wines. Unfortunately, I know the Indian people like a little bit of alcohol, and but not with that. You actually get intensity of flavour, and that's and you need that to go with spicy food. And the wines suit. And the wines, if you hang around later on or coming later on, it's worth just trying some of these wines with some of the if we've got any spicy food, that's worth trying. We did a little bit of experimentally with the staff here. I think it surprised them. So, but that's the attributes of Australian wine, and I'm glad that now we're coming to some sort of agreement. So we've got some sort, and in the long term, and I hope, and without being controversial here, is I hope the government can see that if we can bring tariffs down here, although you've got some fantastic wine here, if we can get the really fantastic wine that we make, and not only what Australia makes, but the whole world does, you'll be amazed with some of the wine that's made out there. These wines are very good, but there is so much more there. Someone asked me earlier about whether I've tried some Indian wine. Yes, I have tried some Indian wine, and I've been extremely impressed with it. There's several companies here that make it. I've tried wines from every one of them. There's some new world styles there which are fruit driven and look very similar to a lot of Australian wine, and there's some old world styles and they look great as well. And I think what it comes down to with wine, this is the main thing you have to get across to people, wine is really a personal thing, and certain products aren't going to suit certain tastes, but I think if you put it in the right context, people will just enjoy it anyway. And that's really what I've seen of the Indian wine industry. It's been quite impressive, actually. And the wine region here in India is very similar to some of our wine regions in Australia. So there isn't any reason why the industry can't make very, very similar wines. And I know in the future, with some other ideas that our company's got, we will probably do a bit of swapping. We're hoping, it's a medium term to long term, of swapping some of our winemakers with your winemakers and bringing some to Australia, and we're going to come up here and spend a bit of time in some of the wineries up here. That's the long-term plan. It might not happen in the short term, but that's what we're looking at. I've been asked that question several times since I've been here. So it's a great honour to be here. It's given me the opportunity to get out to India and have a look at it. I look after 20 different countries around the world, and what I see here impresses me. And I think in the medium to long term, it's going to be a very good, very, very good market. And I'm enjoying myself, and I'd like to thank Beverage and the Taj and Austrade and the West Australian Commission for letting me come here and showing you our wares, and I'm sure we're going to have a great night tonight. And but here's the disclaimer: please drink wine in moderation. I'm saying myself. Okay. So the only reason I say that, you're going to get this on tape. In Australia, when we talk about wine, I have to talk about moderation of drinking wine. So, it's just something I'm used to saying. So that's why I say it. So we'll have a bit of fun, okay? And that's really what it's really the way we promote wine in Australia. It's about
items that we have there, but
I think as wine, again, the agreement will be signed hopefully by the end of the week. And I think Mr. Singh Roy will be able to help you. I think the key with it is to try and get the wine everywhere we can, and that's really what we want to do, and get everybody enjoying it. So, yeah.
Just by coincidence, today in Delhi, yet another Australian beverage is being launched. And this is a product which is going to be manufactured in India under licence, but it's Australian technology, Australian branding. And this is a new, what they call breezer or cruiser drink. So here we have Australian wine being bottled in Australia and sent to India. With this new product being launched in Delhi, we have Australian technology being utilised by an Indian company. And I guess the third major sort of beverage input we have into the market is Australian companies actually coming here and investing and producing their own product. And of course, Foster's manufactures its beer in India. So there's a number of ways in which we can move our beverages products into India.
Would you like to extend your collaboration along with the Indian winemaking companies,
I think
Australian government or the Department of Australian Agriculture would like to extend their hands with Indian winemaking companies?
we'd certainly look at any proposals, and I mean, Sean has already been having discussions along that very line, and he's only been here a very short while. It does seem as though there is room for cooperation.
We're also just entering a training program, a model training program. Is currently being put together by technical and further education institution in Western Australia through their winemaking sort of, or their wine area in Albany, the Albany College of Tape and Margaret River, to develop a training program for potential Indian winemakers, wine producers, etc. So that's just in its nascent stage now.
Just a silly question. Why not selected only Taj, Only Taj throughout India as your partner?
It's the best hotel in India, isn't it?
No doubt about it.
That was very political, actually. Look, with those partnerships with wineries, without taking the focus off on what we're trying to do here today, we have set up a joint venture with one of the major wine companies here. I don't really want to go into that yet. The focus on today is what S&R Trading, Mr. Singhroy, is going to do with the products. But we've already started that process, and I think long term for your industry, particularly with our expertise, and I must admit, I've tried some sparkling wine from this country. It's absolutely exceptional. So I think it's going to be a very, very prosperous association with the whole industry, and with people like Mr. Singhroy, who is going to help us find our feet here, and that's where we're at there. So,
what is the value of Australian food products and beverages exports to India, and what kind of growth do you foresee in the years ahead?
In a normal year, our food products would be in excess of 200 million Australian dollars, which is about 150 million US. But this past 12 months has been a tough year because the major food item that we export to India is pulses, and Australia has just been through its worst drought for 100 years, and this really cut into our ability to supply pulses. But in a normal year, yes, about 150 million US dollars worth.
What is the average annual growth rate in percentage terms?
Well, that's a very difficult one to answer. I mean, last year it fell dramatically because of the drop in the pulses that we exported here. I can say that broadly, though, through the course of the 1990s, Australia grew its total business in India 50% faster than we did globally. So India was an exceptionally good destination for the whole breadth of Australian exports through the course of the 1990s. I guess it was in the 1990s when market opening occurred, and so many Australian companies realised that here was a country with which we could now do business.
To maintain the rate of growth that you wish to.
sorry,
How do you market yourselves in India?
market ourselves.
Yes.
I suppose, look, the key, it's interesting when you come into a market from another country, because you have perceptions in a country that we see, that we get told, and you think, okay, I'll go in there and market like that. The way we see about marketing our product here is you have to build partnerships with your distributor, because they know the market the best. And then you build those partnerships up, and then you work with them to provide the support and to promote the brand because they know their market better than what we do, and that's really what it's about. So
I also think now that India's on this phenomenal sort of upward movement in development of supermarkets, that this will be a great source of inroad into onto the supermarket shelves for Australian and indeed Western products that are produced throughout Australia. That is certainly a strategy that our Department of Agriculture, we will be launching actually in February, a strategy about India's supermarket industry. That growth and development is just quite phenomenal. You've got a good product on the stands.
Duty is accessible yes, automatically the affordability of the capacity rate will be is that one. Whereas American is also 162%, and Indian consumer को जो
Then they were taken over by others, and they really suffered a lot in those years. And they recently, the Bailey family bought it back and wanting to build it back up.
Those are not meant for you. Your system will revolt.
Those are non-alcoholic, non-caffeine.
Okay, and these
We
are
have our
alcohol.
first non-caffeine cola.
Then you don't have that. Necessarily, you must be
Great industry, it's huge. I'll never get over the number of people.
Five or six free-to-air channels, and then there's large numbers of cable channels as well. I'm not sure what the numbers are. Well, there's one particular channel called SBS, free-to-air, and that stands for Special Broadcasting Service, and that's a channel that has a great deal of foreign language films and other programs. But most of them.
chocolates, among other things. So, without further ado, allow me to welcome some of the senior people who are going to be sharing their thoughts with us this evening. Mr. Kane, Senior Trade Commissioner, Austrade. Ms. Sonia Grinseri, Director, Western Australian Trade Office. Mr. Sean Bell of Events and Taste, our winger for the evening, and of course, Regional Director of Events.
And we are delighted to partner them in presenting to you the food and beverage of Western Australia. Have a great evening and keep the wine glasses filled. Thank you.
We're here in the Taj Bengal in the wonderful city of Calcutta, a city of course known for its appreciation of art, culture and food. For many years the food business done between Australia and India was essentially in commodities. We supplied products like pulses, lentils and powdered milk. But with the changes in the Indian market, the market is opening up, quantitative restrictions are going, and now from Australia Indians can buy products like fresh fruit, apples, pears and kiwis, and processed products like biscuits, tinned fruit, tinned vegetables, fruit juices. Big bit over on the left hand side. It's 2 million square kilometres and it has only 2 million people. One of the great things though about Western Australia is that incorporated in all that land there is some wonderful agricultural country and a great climate for growing things. So in what is probably one of the safest environments in the world to produce foodstuffs, we have fantastic products coming out of Western Australia, and not just on the land. The coastline of Western Australia, or WA as we call it down there, has an abundant seafood, and some wonderful seafoods go out to the world from there. I'd like to thank some people for contributing so enormously to help us with this evening's event. First of all, the Department of Agriculture from Western Australia. Secondly, the West Australian Trade Office, represented by Sonia Grinseri. Sonia has come up to Calcutta from her office in Mumbai, and Sonia, thank you very much for your personal contribution. I also wish to thank Sean Bell, the wine expert from Evans and Tate. Evans and Tate is a very prominent Australian wine company based at Margaret River, south of Perth. I'm sure you'll be delighted to hear what Sean has to say as he takes you through some of the great wines available this evening. I also wish to thank the Taj Bengal for putting so much effort into making this a great evening for us out here in the banquet garden. And finally, I'd like to make special mention of 3 Indian businessmen whose contribution to the event has been outstanding. Firstly, Mr. Ambarish Singh Roy of SR Trading Company. He is a young Indian entrepreneur who went to Australia in September, went to a food show in Sydney, but decided to go on then to Western Australia. And while there he entered into business relationships with 7 companies, and he's now representing those products in the Indian market, and of course you are sampling those products this evening. He's also going to open a deli in Calcutta shortly. It's called Food for Thought, and it will feature Australian produce, and we all wish him very well for his new ventures. Secondly, I would like to mention Messrs. Aaron and RJ Goenka. They're from a company called Garden Fresh. They specialise in the import of fresh fruit and vegetables from Australia. They've been doing that for more than 3 years, and their products too are here for you this evening. Again, we welcome their wonderful participation in the event.
It was drawn to my attention that
Indians knew a great deal about the east coast of Australia, in particular the cities of Sydney and Melbourne. And all they knew about Western Australia was the state of the Wacker cricket pitch. They could tell me in great detail about that pitch. They knew more about it than I did. So I'm very pleased this evening to have the opportunity to introduce to you products from the southwest of Western Australia. This is the fastest growing region or regional area in Australia, and it's an area that is renowned for its premium wines, for its great food, and for its great tourism. And those three factors have actually contributed to making it a very dynamic part of rural or regional Australia. This evening's products that you are hopefully enjoying include Margaret River cheeses, Desonia meat products, and Harvey fresh juices, all of which are from Western Australia and from Margaret River, and of course the Evans and Tate wines, which include some grapes from that region also. So I'm not going to take up any more time of your time, but all I would like to do is to thank Ambrish for all the work that he has done and put into this event, and also my colleagues at Austrade for their wonderful input, and it's a great working relationship that we have and that we enjoy. So I'd now like to introduce to you Mr. Sean Bell from Evans and Tate. Thank you.
Good evening. Good. Anyone hear me up there? Sorry. It's gone quiet. Everybody is in anticipation to listen to me talk. But I'm going to actually change the format tonight because initially we were only going to have about 100 people, and now we've got close to 300 or 400, and it's going to be very, very hard to do a structured tasting. So what I'm going to do is actually do a brief history of our company. I'm going to talk a little bit about Australian wine. I'm going to talk a little bit about Margaret River. I'm going to talk about the wine that we have on tasting tonight. And then I'm going to encourage you just to I'm going to go around and mingle. And I think I'm going to encourage you then just to go around, try some of the wine, and please try some of the wine with food, because one of the main things we do in Australia when we're promoting wine in Australia and teaching people in Australia about wine is to actually drink wine with food and learn how to appreciate wine and food. And then once you've done that, if you're not a big wine drinker, is you actually then make up your own decision on what you want to drink, and you can mix different styles of wine with different types of food. So I'll start off with a very, very brief history of Evans and Tate. Evans and Tate started in Margaret River some 30 odd years ago. Margaret River is a very, very small wine growing region of Australia. It produces roughly around 2.5% of Australia's wine, but produces around about 23% of Australia's premium wine, and that's ultra premium wine. Evans and Tate started producing wine in 1974. We were a very, very small winemaker. We decided last year that we were going to be involved in bigger and better things, and we ended up buying Cranswick Premium Wines in New South Wales, which gave us the opportunity to start exporting wine to other countries. And the wines you're drinking tonight, particularly the Salisbury, are products that are made not only from our West Australian fruit, but made from our fruit in New South Wales. So they're not 100% West Australian, but they're from a 100% West Australian company that started off very, very small, and we're very, very much built on quality. The interesting about Australian wine, and I don't know whether you've seen a lot of Australian wine in India, is the emphasis in the way we make wine in Australia is it's a science to us. Yes, there's some tradition in the way we make wine, but basically it's a science to us. We're trying to grow the fruit, we're trying to get the best flavour, the best varietal flavour we can out of each grape. And with that, we actually produce wines that are quite intense in flavour, quite fruit driven. A lot of people say around the world that Australian wine's sometimes too fruity. And that's because it's the way we make it. We're trying to make wines that have that varietal characteristic in the wine, and that's really what we're trying to do. and it's a little bit different to the old world, but I think at the same time the great thing about wine, and I drink a lot of wine from all over the world, and I actually travel through 20 different countries and do tastings and talk about wine, is the great thing about wine is that from every country it is different. We can sit around, we can enjoy it, and I'm looking at tonight, and the thing we really try and promote with wine drinking and wine consumption is exactly what we're doing tonight, is we stand around with a great group of people, there's fantastic food being served, and there's some good wine to drink, and we sit around, we talk about it, we have a great night, and we build friendships around it. And that's really how we try and promote wine. I suppose one of the main reasons for me travelling to other countries in the world is that's something I'd like to try and do with the rest of the world, particularly countries like India, where wine consumption is quite low. And this is one of the main reasons I'm here. And we sat down with Mr. Singh Roy from S&R Trading a month or so, several months ago, and decided it's a perfect opportunity to come up here, show our wares, and get from here. The only unfortunate thing that I find is that the wine we're drinking tonight is really, really good quality, but it will be fantastic in a few years' time, where the market here has grown so much, and people are drinking wine so much that you can see the next level, the next step up in Australian wine. Not only so much the next step up in Australian wine, but the next step up in the world wine, because the wine you're drinking tonight as well, it's good, it's good drinking styles of wine, but we make so much more, and I'm sure as the industry grows here, we will start importing or exporting more wine into India. The thing that has impressed me is my first visit to India. The funny thing is I haven't actually eaten any Indian food yet. I've been to a few restaurants in Mumbai, I've eaten here last night, and I've actually eaten in more Asian restaurants and more modern restaurants than I have Indian, which has been quite amazing. So I even fell asleep on the plane flying from Mumbai last night and didn't get a chance to eat the Indian food they had on the plane, so I missed out. I had a little bit at lunch today. I was told to have a little bit at lunch today. But I think the amazing thing about food in India, and we get a lot of Indian food in Australia, it's just so much spicier. And I think what makes Australian wine so popular, and it's gaining a lot of popularity here, is we have a lot of fruit weight, a lot of fruit sweetness in the wine. And I think to enjoy wine with very, very spicy food, you need that weight, you need that fruit concentration to overpower the flavour of the food. And I think that's the good thing about this. And if you get a chance, please, with the Salisbury wines, the two Justin Jackman wines that you tasted first, they're sort of an entry-level product. They're quite light, they're very easy drinking, and they're just good all-round quaffing sort of styles of wine. When you step up a bit into the Salisbury, you'll find the wines will have a bit more flavour, a bit more complexity. They all have a bit of oak treatment. And it's interesting, if you're going to taste the wine tonight, start off with the Chardonnay Semillon, try some seafood with it, even try a little bit of cheese with it, and you'll find that wine will go quite well, that wine. When you move into the straight varietal Chardonnay, the wine's much fuller, it has a little bit more oak treatment, and it's much more complex. So try and find something to eat out there, maybe even a little bit of the cheddar or something like that, and you'll really enjoy that wine. And that's just a progressive step up in style and dryness. And what you get with most straight varietal wines is that you get varietal flavour, but not all varieties have flavour across the whole taste spectrum. So that's why we blend wine. That's why we put Semillon with Chardonnay. And if you get an opportunity, and there's plenty of glasses out there, try both the wines together, because you'll see all the complexity of Chardonnay, and then you'll see the Semillon will come into it. That'll give you all the freshness and the fruitiness of the Semillon, and it'll actually look like it's actually made the wine softer, but it hasn't really. What it's really done is giving you a broad flavour across the whole palate. So you're tasting wine with all the flavours. Both varieties are giving you the flavour right across the palate. So what it's actually doing is actually giving you palate structure and flavour right across the whole spectrum of your tongue. You don't have a lot of taste buds in the middle of your tongue. That's why Semillon is blended with Chardonnay, because it has a lot of flavour in the middle of your tongue, a lot of flavour in the middle of its palate. So it actually matches in with Chardonnay quite well. The Chardonnay has a little bit more oak in it. It's a little bit more complex, a little bit more full-bodied. So enjoy that. And then you'll move on to the reds, and it's very similar with the reds as well. The Shiraz Cabernet, again, you'll find the Cabernet will be quite tannic, it'll be quite acidic, it'll be quite dry, it'll be quite complex. But if you try the Cabernet Shiraz, once again, you've got that big milk. Cabernet is a bit like a donut. We call it a donut wine in Australia when we're describing it. Cabernet tends to have a lot of flavour up front, a lot of flavour at the back, and whether you regard that as finish or tannin structure, and not a lot in the middle. And we tend to blend a lot of Merlot into, or Merlot is a very popular blending product into Cabernet, but Shiraz is another one. Shiraz has a big punch of fruit in the middle palate, and that's why we blend the Cabernet and the Shiraz together. And you'll find, and we did a little bit of experiment today, I don't know whether you've got something really spicy out there, but have a taste of the Cabernet Shiraz, drink something spicy, eat something spicy, sorry, and then taste the Cabernet Shiraz again, and you'll find what the spicy food's done. Because the Shiraz is spicy, they'll actually balance out the spiciness in both foods, and you'll taste the flavour from the food, but you'll taste the intense fruity flavour from the Cabernet Shiraz. So it's worth trying. We did a little test today with a bit of green chilli with the staff here, and I think it really surprised the staff today just what it could do. So it's quite interesting. Cabernet Shiraz, some really spicy food. Cabernet Sauvignon, definitely the cheese, and definitely the chocolate. Try the Cabernet Sauvignon with chocolate. Cabernet Sauvignon tends to have a few sort of chocolatey notes to it, as they say. I'm not going to go into all the sort of all the terms we talk about. I think some people think we're lying to people, just trying to get people to drink wine. But I think try some of the particularly dark chocolate. I don't know if there's a dark chocolate here tonight, but try the dark chocolate with the Cabernet. You'll be pleasantly surprised. And you'll find, if you find the Chardonnay or the Cabernet a little bit too tannic or a little bit too complex, have some food. It'll soften the wine down. I think that's the scary thing with people drinking wine, is we tend to drink sometimes, particularly when we're first starting out drinking wine, we tend to try wines with the wrong food, and we have a taste and you go, oh, it tastes too tart or it tastes too sour. It's just purely because they just don't quite match. So it's worth here tonight with what we have here, is just go around and taste and see what goes best with that style of wine. And then you'll find, if you don't drink a Chardonnay or if you don't drink a Cabernet Sauvignon, you might go, geez, I really like that, because you found a way of balancing your wine out. And that's what food does. Wine was designed initially for food, and that's what it was made for initially. But and you know, that's the enjoyment of it, and it's something we really promote in Australia. The interesting thing about Australia is that currently we're drinking more white wine than red wine, and it's the reason being is because our tastes have changed, and we're moving away from a lot of red meat. We're moving away from, this gentleman over here from Victoria is probably going to get up and give me a smack in the mouth, but we're moving a little bit away from some of the heavy Italian food, and we're moving more towards the Asian influence, the seafood, and the Middle Eastern influence, the Indian Eastern food, much more spicier. Which means, because the Australian wine public are are relatively educated, and they weren't educated 10 or 15 years ago. It's only in the last 10 or 15 years that the Australians, particularly the younger Australians, have become attuned to drinking wine, and they've learnt a lot about it, and the industry has spent a lot of money teaching them about it. So, and that's the difference. That's why we're drinking more white wine. We're trying to drink a lot more wine that suits the food, so we enjoy it more. I notice here, though, coming from a country who started out drinking beer and bourbon, we started teaching people to drink wine there with sweeter styles of wine. But what I've noticed here in India is, because the market has traditionally been whiskey drinkers, because whiskey's quite complex, quite dry and quite full flavoured, dry wine's really starting to suit people's tastes. And that's a good thing, because dry wine's actually better for you. So, and red wine's very, very popular, and that's all coming from what you use for drinking, and that's a really, really good, a good thing to do. And we all know that red wine's very, very healthy for you. We've been told that several times. But not only that, white wine's good for you too. Not sweet white wine, dry white wine. It's good for breaking down your cholesterol. If you have any diabetes problems, it's great. It's that type of stuff. And it's good to just sort of drink and enjoy, sit around with friends. I don't know what else I can talk about. I really am used to doing structured tastings. I'm really used to doing a tasting with 50 or 60 people and really breaking the wines down and describing it to people. But look, I'm really, really enjoying myself, and I hope when I come back, I'm trying to get up here twice a year, if I can do that, that we can probably do this type of situation in a more personal time. I don't care if I do 2 or 3 tastings with a group of people, and we sit down, we break it down a little bit more, and we have a little bit of fun with it. And I think that's the main thing with wine. Let's have a bit of fun with it and enjoy it, and really enjoy it with our friends. And I'd like to really thank Mr. Singroy, who's brought me up here, Austrade, the West Australian Trade Commission, and the Taj, who's putting me up here in this absolutely stunning venue. And I'd like to thank you all for coming. Thank you for listening to me. I'm going to mingle for the rest of the night. I'm really desperate to actually try some of the wine and some of the food. I haven't done it yet. Now that the speech is over and I can calm down, I'll get out there and talk to everybody. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sean. We are all now really eager. Just for ease of convenience, what we've done is the Salisbury Cabernet Sauvignon and the Cabernet Shiraz are behind you, and the Chardonnay Semillon and the Chardonnay Salisburys are towards your left. Look forward to seeing you at the bar counter. Thank you. Have a nice evening. Bye-bye.